Hello, my wonderful Year 11 class. In case you are wondering, here's how we do a syntax chart. This is taken from the Rich's Fabulae, which you can get through our school. Erant olim in Thessalia duo fratres. I'm going to translate this, then we'll do some syntax. There were once in Thessaly two brothers, of whom one was called Jason, the other was appellabatur, the other was called Peleus. Jason ruled or had held the kingdom obtunerat pluperfect first. But after a few years, Peleus, adductus, having been spurred on by greed of the kingdom, not only expelled suum fratrem, his own brother, sed etiam, but even habebat, had it in mind to interfecere, to kill Jason, filium Aesonis, the son of Aeson. Quidam tamen, however, a certain one of the friends of Aeson, ubi sententiam, when he cognoverant, when he realized the plan of Peleus, constituerunt, decided eripere to snatch the boy tanto periculo, from such danger. Noctu, at night igitur, therefore, abstulerunt, they took Jason ex urbe, out of the city, et cum postero die, and when on the next day they rediissent, they had returned to the regem, to the king, they renuntiaverunt ei, they announced to him puerum mortuum esse, that the boy was dead. Peleus cum hoc audivisset, when he had heard this, esse, although revera, in truth he percipiebat, he was feeling magnum gaudium, great joy, tamen, he, however, praebuit, put on the speciem, the appearance doloris of grief, et quaesivit, and he asked, quae causa esset, what was the cause mortis of the death? Illi autem, they, however, cum bene intelligerent, when they understood that eos dolorem, or even here maybe since they understood that dolorem eos, that his death esse was false, finxerunt, made up, or offered nescio quam, literally I know not what story, some story or other, de morte, about the death of the boy. On this next slide, you can see at the bottom that we have these words here, which are all saying, describe the grammar of the following words. So these are the words appellabatur, adductus, rediissent, mortuum esse, audivisset, esset, and finally falsum esse. So we have all of those words, just like we usually have in a syntax chart. When we were in the lower years, we used to ask you specifically, all right, tell us what kind of word is it, and what tense is it, and what person is it. What we've got here is actually just the words themselves, and we have to figure out what we're going to put in. So let's do that. To my blackboard. Peleus alter appellabatur. The first word was appellabatur. What are we going to say about that? Well, appello is a verb. It means I call. Appellabatur, it is a verb. It is the imperfect passive. He was called. He was being called. One of them was being called Peleus. So it is the verb, it is the imperfect passive, and it is the third person singular. The next one is Peleus regni cupiditate. Adductus is the next word. Adductus is our old friend. It is a perfect passive participle. Remember, when you look up a verb, the perfect passive participle is the last word that you see at the end of the verb. So paratus, having been prepared. Auditus, having been heard. Adduco, I lead to, or I lead on. Here it's adductus, having been led on by the greed, or Peleus, having been led on by greed of the kingdom. Adductus, a perfect passive participle, and it is nominative singular, describing the sentence. Cum postero die ad regem rediissent, when on the next day they had returned to the king. Postero die, if that was your words, you would have had time when ablative, but it wasn't postero die, it was in fact simply the word rediissent that we've got here. It is cum rediissent. What some people call a cum clause, I call a temporal clause. It is pluperfect, subjunctive, and it is third person plural. You know that it's pluperfect subjunctive because rediisse, imagine if for a second you didn't have the nt, the unt at the end of it, rediisse would mean to have returned. So for the pluperfect subjunctive, you take the perfect infinitive, rediisse, and put on mst, mustus, and unt. Rediissem, rediisses, rediissent. Here, what? Rediissem, rediisses, rediisset, rediissemus, rediissetis, rediissent. Cum rediissent-temporal clause, pluperfect subjunctive, third person plural. E renuntiaverunt, they announced to him puerum mortuum esse, the boy to be dead. They announced to him that the boy was dead. As soon as I see this word, renuntiaverunt, I'm thinking to myself that is a verb of saying or thinking, and will therefore probably be followed by the indirect statement. They announced to him that the boy, accusative, was infinitive, mortuum esse, dead. Mortuum esse. Morior is I die. You notice the end of it, or, morior, making it look like it is passive, but it is in fact active. That makes it a deponent verb. Therefore, its infinitive is not perfect passive, but in fact perfect active infinitive. And as we said, it is part of the indirect statement. And then we have hoc audivisset, when he, and it should have cum at the front of it, when he had hoc audivisset. This phrase happens quite a lot in Latin, when he had heard hoc, this thing. Audivisset, again, temporal clause, again it's that visem, vises, viset, pluperfect subjunctive, third person singular. He quaesiuit, he asked what, quae causa esset mortis, he asked what was the cause of the death. Look at this trigger word, I suppose, here, the quae. He asked quaesiuit, first of all, he asked what was the cause. Esset is the subjunctive. Why is it the subjunctive? Well, the quae is the thing that tells us what was the cause of his death. That is a direct question. He asked what was the cause of his death. Suddenly becomes an indirect question. Esset is the imperfect subjunctive, and it is third person singular. And last of all, cum bene intelligent, since they understood that eos dolorem, that his grief, falsum esse, was false, since they understood his grief to be false. I see that word intelligent, and I'm thinking to myself immediately, that is a verb of saying or thinking, in this case thinking. They understood the grief to be false. So esse here, falsum esse, the falsum is obviously accusative, and esse is the infinitive, and what we have there is a present infinitive, and it is, as we have said before, part of the indirect statement. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we do syntax charts. Plenty more of those to come, I feel.